Hello and welcome to Lotus Light Teachings, where we explore the wisdom of nature and practical ways to live a healthier, more balanced life. Today, we're tackling a frustrating yet common issue: leg cramps. Have you ever been jolted awake by a sudden, sharp pain in your leg, leaving you rubbing your muscles in agony? But here's the good news: you don't have to suffer in silence. What if I told you that the key to preventing these cramps could be as simple as adding the right foods to your diet? That's right. Certain natural, delicious foods can nourish your muscles, improve circulation, and keep cramps at bay. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to eat to protect your muscles and live pain-free. Plus, I'll share practical tips on how to make these superfoods a part of your daily routine. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive in. I'll never forget the night that made me rethink my health. It was around 2 a.m. and I was in deep sleep when, suddenly, bam! A sharp, stabbing pain shot through my calf. My muscle had clenched up into a rock-hard knot and I couldn't move my leg. I tried stretching, massaging, even standing up, but the pain was unbearable. I felt helpless. I spent the next 30 minutes limping around my room, wondering why this was happening to me. Was I dehydrated? Lacking nutrients? Aging too fast? After that night, I made it my mission to understand leg cramps, why they happen and how to stop them. What I discovered was life-changing. The answer wasn't in pills or quick fixes. It was in food. And today, I'm here to share 6 powerful superfoods that have helped me and countless others say goodbye to muscle cramps for good. If you're tired of waking up in pain or struggling with stiff, aching muscles, this video is for you. Let's start with the first powerhouse food: bananas. I still remember the day I realized how something as simple as a banana could change the way I felt. It was a cold winter morning and I was sitting in my grandmother's kitchen watching her peel a banana with the kind of patience that only someone who has lived long enough to appreciate life's little moments could have. She handed me half and said, "Eat this, dear. Your muscles will thank you." At the time, I didn't think much of it. A banana was just a banana. A convenient snack, something to grab on the way out the door. But years later, when I found myself struggling with persistent leg cramps after long hours of work, I finally understood what she meant. Muscle cramps have a way of sneaking up on you, don't they? One moment, you're going about your day, and the next, your leg seizes up like a clenched fist, refusing to let go. It's the kind of pain that commands your full attention, as if your body is screaming at you to listen. And so I did. I started paying attention to what I was eating, what I was lacking, and what my body needed. That's when I rediscovered bananas. Not just as a snack, but as a natural powerhouse for muscle health. Bananas are rich in potassium, a mineral that plays a crucial role in muscle function. Without enough potassium, your muscles can contract uncontrollably, leading to cramps that seem to come out of nowhere. And let's not forget magnesium, another essential nutrient found in bananas that helps muscles relax after contraction. It's like a perfect dance between tension and release, allowing your body to move smoothly without unexpected interruptions. There's something beautiful about how nature gives us exactly what we need in the simplest forms. No fancy packaging, no complicated instructions. Just a banana ready to nourish you. I think about some of the greatest athletes in history. People like Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world. Have you ever seen him in training? Bananas are almost always a part of his routine. Not just for the energy boost, but because they provide the essential nutrients his muscles need to recover and keep pushing forward. But you don't have to be an Olympic sprinter to feel the benefits. I've seen it in my own life, in my morning routine when I blend a banana into my smoothie and notice how much better my body feels throughout the day. I've felt it on those restless nights when I eat a banana before bed and wake up without that familiar, painful jolt in my calf. Bananas are a reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most powerful. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to look for the next big thing, the newest supplement, the latest health trend. But what if the answer has been sitting on our kitchen counter this whole time? I often think back to my grandmother, sitting by the window with her cup of tea, slowly peeling her banana, fully present in the moment. She didn't need a nutritionist to tell her what was good for her body. She just listened. To the wisdom of nature, to the signals of her own body, to the lessons passed down through generations. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Not just that bananas are good for your muscles, but that paying attention to what your body needs is one of the greatest acts of self-care. So, next time you reach for a snack, think about what it's doing for you. Think about how something as small as a banana can help you move a little easier, sleep a little better, and live a little more pain-free. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you peel one open, you'll remember that health isn't always about big, dramatic changes. It's about the little choices we make every day. What's one small, simple change you could make today that your future self will thank you for? I never used to think much about spinach. It was just one of those things that sat in the salad bar, looking slightly wilted and uninviting. I grew up associating it with Popeye, the old cartoon sailor who'd gulp down a can of spinach and suddenly develop superhuman strength. It was entertaining, sure, but in real life, spinach never seemed that impressive to me. That changed one summer when I was visiting my aunt in Vermont. She had this beautiful backyard garden, lush with tomatoes, cucumbers, and, of course, spinach. One evening, as the golden light of the sunset stretched across the hills, she handed me a bowl of freshly picked spinach sautéed with garlic and olive oil. "Taste it," she said. I hesitated, expecting the same bland, lifeless texture I had always avoided. But it was different. Rich, vibrant, with just the right amount of warmth and a slight crunch. It tasted alive. She smiled as I took another bite. "This little green leaf," she said, "has more power than you realize." I didn't fully understand what she meant until years later when I found myself struggling with constant fatigue. No matter how much I slept, I woke up drained. My legs felt like lead after just a short walk. My muscles ached and I couldn't figure out why. I blamed stress, lack of exercise, maybe even getting older. But one day, a doctor casually mentioned you might be low on iron. Iron, the thing that spinach is full of. That was my wake-up call. I started learning about how iron carries oxygen to our muscles, how without enough of it, we feel sluggish, weak, incapable. I remembered my aunt's words. This little green leaf has more power than you realize. She was right. But spinach isn't just about iron. It's packed with magnesium, which helps muscles relax and prevents painful tightness and cramps. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, clutching your leg in agony because of a sudden Charlie horse? That's often a sign of magnesium deficiency. Then there's calcium, which isn't just for bones. It plays a crucial role in muscle contractions, ensuring that every step, stretch, and movement happens smoothly. Without enough calcium, your muscles can misfire, leading to spasms and fatigue. I started adding spinach to my diet. Not in dramatic, life-changing ways, but in small, simple shifts. I threw a handful into my morning smoothies, blending it with bananas and almond milk. I sautéed it with garlic just like my aunt did. I tossed it into salads, layered it into sandwiches, and even stirred it into soups. And something changed. I woke up feeling a little lighter. My legs didn't feel so heavy. The fog in my mind started to lift. I felt, for the first time in years, energized. It made me wonder, how many of us are walking through life exhausted, not because we're broken, but because we're missing something so simple? Think about some of the greatest minds in history. Steve Jobs, for example. He was known for eating a primarily plant-based diet, often relying on fruits and vegetables to keep his energy high and his mind sharp. Or Serena Williams, whose plant-focused diet fuels her legendary endurance and strength. The world's most high-performing people don't just rely on willpower. They give their bodies the right fuel. And yet, so many of us are running on empty. I see it all the time. People reaching for another cup of coffee, another energy drink, another shortcut to keep them going. But what if the answer isn't in the caffeine? What if it's in something as simple as a handful of spinach? We tend to overlook the simplest solutions because they seem too easy. We expect health to be complicated, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's in the things we dismiss. The fresh foods, the natural nutrients, the quiet wisdom of nature. I think back to my aunt's garden, to the way she knew instinctively what her body needed. She didn't count calories or track macros. She just listened, and maybe that's what we all need to do a little more of. So here's my challenge to you. Pay attention. Notice how you feel after a day of processed food versus a day of whole, real foods. Notice how your energy shifts when you give your body what it's actually craving. And maybe, just maybe, toss a little spinach into your next meal. Because sometimes the smallest things make the biggest difference. What's one simple shift you could make today that your future self will thank you for? It's funny how the smallest things in life often hold the most power. A single word can change someone's day. A brief moment of kindness can alter the course of a life. And sometimes a tiny, unassuming snack, one that you could hold in the palm of your hand, can carry within it the potential to nourish, strengthen, and even heal. I didn't always appreciate almonds. They were just another item in the snack aisle, tucked between rows of chips and candy bars. I knew they were healthy, but that was about it. It wasn't until a few years ago, during one of the most stressful times in my life, that I truly understood their value. I remember that season vividly. I was juggling too many responsibilities, running on caffeine and adrenaline, constantly exhausted but never able to sleep well. My body felt drained, my muscles ached, and to make matters worse, I started experiencing these sudden, sharp cramps in my legs at night. At first, I ignored them. Just stress, I told myself. Just fatigue. But then one night, the pain was so intense that it jolted me awake. It was as if my muscles had turned against me, seizing up like a coiled wire that refused to loosen. I sat up in bed, rubbing my calves, feeling helpless. That was my wake-up call. I needed to do something, anything, to feel like myself again. I started researching, reading, learning, and that's when I stumbled upon something fascinating. Magnesium. This quiet, uncelebrated mineral plays a crucial role in our muscle health, keeping them relaxed and preventing painful cramps. And guess what food is packed with magnesium? Almonds. I made a small change that week. I started keeping a jar of raw almonds on my desk. Just a handful a day, nothing dramatic. At first, I didn't notice much, but within a couple of weeks, something shifted. My muscles weren't as tense. The cramps started fading. My energy, once erratic and unreliable, became more stable. Felt like magic, but it wasn't. It was just my body finally getting what it needed. The more I learned, the more I marveled at these tiny powerhouses. Almonds don't just provide magnesium. They're also rich in calcium, which ensures that our muscles contract and relax smoothly. And let's not forget vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that helps muscle recovery and keeps our cells resilient against daily stress. It's no wonder that some of the most high-performing individuals in the world swear by them. LeBron James eats almonds as part of his training diet. Jennifer Aniston, known for her radiant health, has talked about how she keeps them as a go-to snack. Even Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, has been known to munch on almonds while making billion-dollar decisions. It made me realize something. Success, whether in business, sports, or health, isn't built on grand gestures. It's built on small, consistent habits. And maybe that's the real lesson here. We often look for big, dramatic solutions to our problems. We chase quick fixes, expecting instant results. But sometimes the answer isn't a major overhaul. Sometimes it's as simple as adding something small, something as humble as a handful of almonds, to your daily routine. These days, almonds are a non-negotiable part of my life. I toss them into my yogurt in the morning. I sprinkle them over my salads at lunch. Sometimes, when I need something sweet, I pair them with a square of dark chocolate and let the richness melt in my mouth. And when I'm on the go, they're the easiest, healthiest snack to carry with me. But beyond the nutrition, beyond the physical benefits, almonds remind me of something deeper. They remind me that health isn't about extremes. It's about balance. It's about giving your body what it needs in the simplest, most natural way possible. And they remind me that small things matter, not just in food but in life. The little habits, the quiet choices, the things we often overlook because they don't seem significant enough. So, if you're feeling exhausted, if your muscles are aching, if you're searching for a way to take better care of yourself, maybe start small. Maybe start with something as simple as almonds. Because sometimes the tiniest things make the biggest difference. What's one small habit you could change today that might transform your well-being in the long run? Number 4. Salmon, the superfood for muscle and heart health. I never thought much about salmon. Growing up, my diet was simple. Whatever was quick, easy, and familiar. Like most people, I had my routines, my go-to meals, my comfort foods. But then, life has a way of teaching you things when you least expect it. It started with my father. He was always the strongest person I knew, not just physically but mentally. He had this quiet resilience, the kind that made you feel like nothing in the world could shake him. But as the years passed, I started noticing small changes. His movements slowed. He seemed more tired than usual. His once boundless energy was replaced by a quiet kind of exhaustion. Then came the night that changed everything. I found him sitting at the kitchen table, rubbing his hands together like he was trying to warm them up, even though it was the middle of summer. "They hurt," he admitted. "My joints, my muscles, everything just feels stiff." That was the first time I saw the weight of age settling into him. I did what anyone would do. I searched for answers. Doctor visits, medications, stretching routines. Some things helped, but nothing truly changed. Until one day, I stumbled across an article about omega-3 fatty acids and how they could reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and even ease muscle stiffness. The food that contained some of the highest levels of omega-3s? Salmon. At first, I was skeptical. Could something as simple as eating more fish really make a difference? But I was willing to try anything. I started cooking salmon for my father. Grilled with lemon and herbs, tossed into salads, even mixed into rice bowls. It wasn't an overnight miracle, but over time, something shifted. One day, after dinner, he flexed his hands and said, almost surprised, "They don't hurt as much today." I remember that moment so vividly because it was the first time I saw hope in his eyes again. And it wasn't just his hands. His whole body seemed lighter. His muscles weren't as stiff, his energy was better. And for the first time in years, he felt strong again. That's the thing about salmon. It's not flashy. It's not some trendy superfood that comes and goes. It's been around for centuries, quietly nourishing the people who knew its power. The omega-3s in salmon don't just reduce muscle stiffness. They help with joint flexibility, heart health, and even brain function. And let's not forget potassium, which helps prevent muscle cramps, and vitamin D, which keeps bones and muscles strong. When you start looking at food as medicine, everything changes. I think about athletes like Tom Brady, who swears by a diet rich in omega-3s to keep his body performing at the highest level. Or Serena Williams, who understands the connection between what she eats and how she moves on the court. They don't just train their bodies, they fuel them wisely. And yet, how often do we take that for granted? How often do we ignore what our bodies are asking for? I used to think of food as just fuel, something to get me through the day. But after watching my father regain his strength, I started seeing food differently. I started listening to what my body needed. Now, salmon is a staple in my home. I make it at least twice a week, sometimes grilled with a simple squeeze of lemon, sometimes flaked over a fresh salad. When life gets busy, I even keep canned salmon on hand for a quick, nutritious meal. It's one of the easiest and most delicious ways to give your body what it needs. Looking back, I wonder how many people are struggling with fatigue, muscle pain, or stiffness. Not because they're sick, but because they're missing something as simple as the right nutrients. We spend so much time searching for complex solutions when, sometimes, the answer is right in front of us. A better life can start with something as simple as what's on your plate. So here's my question to you. What's one small change you can make today that your future self will thank you for? Maybe it starts with something as simple as adding salmon to your dinner tonight. Maybe it's listening to your body a little more. Or maybe it's realizing that true strength doesn't just come from what you do, but from how you nourish yourself inside and out. Number 5, coconut water, the best natural electrolyte drink. I never thought much about hydration. Like most people, I drank water when I was thirsty, grabbed a soda when I wanted something sweet, and didn't pay attention to what my body actually needed. That is, until one scorching summer afternoon when I learned a lesson I'd never forget. I was hiking in Arizona with a couple of friends. It was one of those days where the heat pressed down like a heavy blanket, the kind of dry, relentless heat that makes you feel like your body is slowly wilting. We had packed our usual supplies: energy bars, some sandwiches, plenty of water. But after a few hours under the brutal sun, I started feeling off. It wasn't just exhaustion. My muscles felt tight, my head was pounding, and there was this strange lightheadedness, like my body was running on empty. I had been drinking water, but it wasn't enough. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was dehydrated in a way that water alone couldn't fix. That's when my friend, who grew up in the tropics, handed me a bottle of coconut water. "Drink this," he said. "You need more than just water right now." I remember that first sip. Cool, slightly sweet, refreshing in a way that no sports drink ever was. Within minutes, I started to feel better. My muscles relaxed, my energy stabilized, and by the time we finished the hike, I was a believer. That was the day I learned that hydration isn't just about drinking water. It's about replenishing electrolytes, the essential minerals that keep our muscles moving, our hearts pumping, our bodies functioning at their best. Coconut water is packed with potassium, magnesium, calcium, and sodium, making it one of the best natural electrolyte sources on the planet. It has more potassium than a banana, which helps prevent muscle cramps and keeps your heart rhythm steady. The magnesium relaxes muscles, preventing those awful nighttime leg cramps. The calcium and sodium ensure that your muscles contract and recover properly. It's no wonder that elite athletes swear by it. LeBron James has talked about how he includes coconut water in his routine to stay hydrated. Even Madonna, someone who has spent decades keeping her body in peak condition, invested in a coconut water company because she believes in its benefits so much. But it's not just for athletes or people pushing their bodies to the limit. It's for anyone who wants to feel better, move better, and live better. After that hike, coconut water became part of my daily routine. I started sipping it after workouts, replacing artificially flavored sports drinks with something pure, straight from nature. I used it as a base for my smoothies, blending it with bananas and spinach for an extra boost. On hot days, I'd freeze it into ice cubes and drop them into my drinks for a refreshing twist. The more I drank it, the more I noticed the changes. I felt more energized. My muscles didn't ache as much. My headaches disappeared. I hadn't even realized how depleted I had been until my body finally got what it needed. And it made me wonder, how many of us are walking through life constantly running on empty, mistaking exhaustion for normalcy? We've become so accustomed to feeling sluggish, so used to relying on caffeine and sugar to get through the day, that we don't realize our bodies are just begging for the right kind of fuel. I think about all the times I reached for an energy drink thinking it would help, when in reality it was just a temporary fix loaded with artificial ingredients. I think about all the mornings I woke up tired, assuming that was just part of life, when all I really needed was better hydration. It's not a coincidence that cultures in tropical climates, where the heat is unforgiving, have relied on coconut water for centuries. Nature, in its quiet wisdom, provides exactly what we need if we're willing to listen. There's something beautiful about drinking something that hasn't been altered, processed, or manufactured. Just pure, simple coconut water straight from the earth. Now, every time I drink it, I remember that lesson in the Arizona desert. I remember the feeling of my body coming back to life. And I remind myself that sometimes the simplest things are the most powerful. So, the next time you're feeling drained, the next time your body is aching for something real, ask yourself, are you truly listening to what it needs? Maybe the answer isn't another cup of coffee. Maybe it's something as simple as a sip of coconut water. What's one small change you could make today that your future self will thank you for? Number 6. Ginger, the miracle spice for muscle relief. I still remember the first time I truly understood the power of ginger. It wasn't in some fancy health article or a conversation with a nutritionist. It was in my grandmother's kitchen late one winter evening when I was a kid with a stubborn cold that wouldn't go away. She didn't reach for medicine. Instead, she handed me a warm cup of ginger tea, sweetened with a touch of honey and a squeeze of lemon. "Drink this," she said, her voice full of certainty. "It'll help." At the time, I didn't question it. Grandmothers have a way of knowing things without explanation. The tea was strong, spicy, almost fiery as it slid down my throat. But then something incredible happened. The aching in my body softened. The tightness in my chest loosened. And for the first time in days, I felt warm. Not just on the outside, but from the inside out. That was my first experience with the quiet magic of ginger. Years later, I would come to appreciate it not just for fighting colds, but for something even more profound. Its ability to heal the body from within. I learned this the hard way. There was a time when I pushed my body to its limits, running on stress and caffeine, ignoring the warning signs until they became impossible to ignore. My muscles were constantly sore, tight, unwilling to relax. No matter how much I stretched, no matter how much water I drank, I woke up every morning feeling like I had been through a battle. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, I found myself back in my kitchen, just like I had been as a kid. Instinctively, I reached for the ginger. I sliced a piece, let it steep in hot water, and took that first sip. It was like coming home. Ginger is one of those rare gifts from nature. An anti-inflammatory powerhouse capable of soothing sore muscles, reducing stiffness, and even improving circulation so that oxygen and nutrients can reach every part of the body more efficiently. It's no surprise that some of the greatest athletes in the world swear by it. Tom Brady, a man whose career has defied the very concept of aging, includes ginger in his anti-inflammatory diet to keep his body performing at its peak. Serena Williams, a powerhouse on the tennis court, has spoken about the importance of anti-inflammatory foods in her routine. They don't just rely on physical training, they fuel their bodies wisely. And yet, how often do we dismiss the idea that something as simple as a root could change the way we feel? We live in a world that loves instant solutions. Pills, quick fixes, anything that promises relief without effort. But ginger doesn't work that way. It's not about masking symptoms. It's about healing from the inside out. I started adding it to my diet in small, effortless ways. A slice of ginger tea before bed, letting it relax my muscles and calm my mind. A sprinkle of fresh ginger in my stir-fries, adding both flavor and healing. A bit blended into my morning smoothie, giving my body an extra boost before the day even begins. And slowly, something shifted. The muscle tightness? It eased. The soreness that followed every workout? It wasn't as intense. My circulation improved, my energy levels steadied. It wasn't a miracle. It was simply giving my body what it needed to do, what it was always meant to do. Heal. I often wonder how many of us are walking around carrying pain that could be eased if only we listened more. To our bodies, to the wisdom of nature, to the quiet remedies that have been around for centuries. Ginger isn't new. It's not some trendy superfood that will fade with time. It's one of the oldest healing remedies in the world, used in ancient medicine across cultures. From Chinese herbalists to Ayurvedic traditions in India. It has stood the test of time for a reason. And maybe that's the real lesson here. We keep searching for the next big thing. The latest breakthrough, the fastest way to feel better. But sometimes the answer isn't something new at all. Sometimes it's something ancient, something simple, something we've had all along. So tonight, as you wind down from your day, maybe try making yourself a cup of warm ginger tea. Feel the heat spread through your body, loosening the tension you didn't even realize you were carrying. And then ask yourself, what else has been within reach this whole time, waiting for you to notice? So there you have it. 6 natural, delicious, and effective foods that can help you prevent leg cramps, strengthen your muscles, and keep you feeling energized every day. Imagine this, waking up without pain, moving through your day without stiffness, and sleeping peacefully without midnight cramps interrupting your rest. It all starts with one simple choice: feeding your body the nutrients it truly needs. These small changes can lead to big results. Which of these foods will you start adding to your diet first? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experiences and any other remedies that have worked for you. And if you found this video helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe so you never miss out on more life-changing health tips. Thank you for being part of the Lotus Light Teachings community. Stay healthy, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live.